Hello. It's a couple days later. I have since actually ordered the embroidery thread. Can I speak English? No. I've ordered my embroidery thread in the colors that I want. I have also done a sample of what the pattern's going to look like in the wrong colors, and also to test how I was going to do this. But yeah, that's what the pattern around the neckline is going to look like when it's sewn. And I've got the templates that I'm going to sew on all down up as well. I don't know if that will focus. That's the wrong side. Does it look like that? Is that going to focus? Anyway, it'll look cool. Anyway, I got the embroidery stuff kind of done, but I do want to do stuff on this project still. I'm still not entirely sure about the material that I have for the overdress, so I'm going to mull that over. In the meantime, I don't actually think that doing the actual sewing on the underdress itself is actually going to impede me much at all, because I'll be using a embroidery hoop on the neckline to hold it stiff so it won't move on me. So I don't think it'll be an issue. I don't think it'll be an issue if I sew the rest of the dress together in the meantime, so that's what I'm going to do today. I have since also made a facing for the collar so I can just turn it in and I won't lose the neckline that I want, and I don't have to worry about fussing with the hem. So yeah, I've put the facing in. I'm just going to go do some top stitching along the top so that the collar, it'll stay really nice on the fold. And then I'm going to do like some hand stitching just to tack the rest of it in place. I also got fabric shears and pinking shears for Christmas, so now I don't have to worry about finishing all my interior seams on this garment because I can just pink all the edges and it won't fray. Hooray for that. So that's exciting. So let's go finish the dress. First things to do is to stitch the collar. Then I am going to put the pockets on the side seams. Then I am going to sew the side seams together, and then I'm going to put the cuffs on the sleeves and then put the sleeves in the dress. Whether or not I get all of that done tonight is... but we'll find out together. We're at the ironing board because this is my only towel surface that I have to work on. We're going to try a new method of putting the pockets in. So I'm on the right side of the dress right now. You can see my nice little top stitch there. So we're going to do right side to right side with the pocket and the side seam where I want it. I've put little darts where I want the pocket to start. Yes, the sound effects are completely necessary. Doot, doot. Okay, and then you do the same to the other side. Make sure everything's gonna line up. Alright, and then I'm going to go sew these on, which I will do now. Ta-da! So those are sewed on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this to the wrong side. I'm going to stick the pockets out to the side like this. Line everything up and start pinning up the side seam like we're going to go sew it. Thank you. Okay, so you pin up the side as if you are going to be sewing it, which we are. So I'm pinning up the side here, but when you get to the pocket, instead of sewing over the pocket like you normally do, you pin the pivot point here. Boop. If I can get a pin in it. Boop. And then you pin the pocket instead of the side seam. And then you're asking, Lizzie, where did you get that pocket shape? The answer is that I made it up. And I basically made it so that my cell phone would fit in it. Because let's be honest, that's what most of us keep in our pockets anyway. And then you keep on pinning. And when you're done, you're going to take this over to the sewing machine and sew exactly where you pin. So you're going to sew here along the side seam until you get to this point where the pocket starts. Then you're going to pivot, sew around the pocket here, come back here. As I pull it out of the screen, there we go. You're going to pivot. When you get here, you're going to pivot again and continue down the side seam like nothing happened. Alright, I'm going to go do that. See you in a bit. He's done. And it has pockets. So, now it's time to get to the sleeves. Wish me luck. Hello and welcome back. As you can see, I have attached one sleeve. Oh, well, it's not technically attached, it's just pinned there, but I finished most of one sleeve. I did that one off camera because I wanted to make sure I didn't heck it up, to be completely honest, and I didn't, so that was nice. My machine hated me and I had broke a sewing machine needle, but that's neither here nor there. So this morning I'm going to run you through how to put the cuff in on the sleeve. Let's go do that. Okay, so here you see we've got the sleeve. I've sewed the interior seam closed already. So the next step is to gather this big boy into the cuff that is over there somewhere. Really useful. Good job, Lizzie. So I'm going to be using this black thread because it is very nicely contrasting with the fabric, so it's easy to see. Thread my needle. I'm going to take a decent length of thread, snip it. And now this next bit is something that I do. It's something you don't have to do. It just, I find, makes my job a lot easier in the long run. And it involves a pin that I don't have here right now. Hold on a hot second, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back and I got the cuff while I was over there. So as you can see, right now, that ain't gonna work. Because all of this needs to go into that, essentially, which means I need to gather this. So what we're doing is running a gathering thread. But before I start running the gathering thread, what I like to do is take a pin with a big bulbous head like that, and I'll tie my thread off to that pin. Leave a goodly length kind of dangling. Can you see that? I don't know. So I leave a longer chunk hanging off of it, and then I'll wrap it around the needle, and then I'll tie a knot. And this is basically just going to act as an anchor point that I can't actually pull the thread through after me while I'm gathering. Literally the only point of this. And then you can just slide the pin back through afterwards. In the meantime, you take the pin, and I like to put it right in this underarm seam here. Boop, boop. And then you take your needle and you just run the gathering thread right through here. I'm going to be doing it about 1/2 inch down. And going from there. So let's do that really quick. Let's turn that into something small. We turn big sleeve into tiny sleeve. We take the cuff. Teeny tiny cuff. Wrong sides. What am I doing with my life? Wrong way. Okay. Next part is less fun. Basically, I take my sleeve and I turn it right side out. Like that. Then we're going to do right side to right side with this. This way. Then pull the cuff into the cuff. This is a lot of words to do such early in the morning. Okay. And then I match up my seams. So I'll do the seam from the sleeve itself. If my camera wants to focus, come on. Come on, focus. You can do it. You can do the thing. There we go. Close enough. So there's the inside seam, and then there's the cuff seam. So I match those up as best I can. And then I pin that in place. And then I go get my pin cushion because it's over there. I'll be right back. So next, I like to make sure that the gathers are kind of spread out nicely on the inside. Which they are not currently. I do one on the direct opposite side of my original. I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit, if I can. Yeah, okay. So I did one, excuse me. So this is my original pin. So it's the seams together. And then I will kind of fluff the gathers until they seem like there's the same amount on either side. And then I'll put one directly opposite, and then I'll take another pin and basically create quarters. Boop. There we go. I would normally overpin the shit out of this, but unfortunately my machine does not have a way for me to do that nicely because I don't have a removable thing on my sewing machine, like a removable platform. So I have to essentially do this all the way around, which takes a long time, first of all. And second of all, ain't nobody got time for that. And that is really blurry. Why are you like this, camera? There we go. So I just pinned the 4 quadrants just to make it a little easier on myself. But I'm going to wait for Sir Editor to wake up to run the machine. We will see you in a little bit. Okay, so I did it. did the sewing. So it's all sewn now. Babe is still technically sleeping, but we did it. So basically I just, oops, let's zoom out a little bit. So I sewed all around just to secure the gathers in place. And now I just have to unpick all the gathering stitches. So turn the sleeve right side out. And then the reason I used black thread was because I could find the black thread really easily in all this. So I'm just going to start where I started the gathering, which is the seam. There we go. I've unpicked a little bit of it already before I decided that I needed to come over where the light was better and probably film some things. Okay, and then we just pull out all this black thread and then the gathering is done. And then comes the part that I'm not looking forward to, because the reason I broke my needle last night was because when I tried to flip the cuff inside and then stitch it down, it was just too much fabric for my machine to be able to handle properly. So I'm gonna have to whip the cuff into place by hand, which I tried to do it with a back stitch last night and it unsurprisingly didn't work. So I thought about it overnight and decided that using the whip stitch to secure the cuff down, and I'm going to use a nice doubled over thread probably for it, just to give it a little bit of extra strength, is probably going to be the easiest and by turn the best way to do it going forward. There's one little gathering thread. Yeah, my gathering thread broke, so, oh, maybe it didn't. Alright, that's all of it. So that's all the gathering thread out. So I'm gonna put my pin down. Now we're gonna turn the sleeve back to being inside out. You can see all the rough seams. And you can see I've pinked this seam. Maybe you can see that, I don't know. Focus. Focus. In any case, this whole seam is pinked. Oh, there you go. I mean, the little zigzags. So now what I'm going to be doing is folding this in over all that gathering. That looks so messy. And enclosing the seam. And just doing a lot of handwork, so that when it's done it will look like a normal cuff. And I have to do that on both cuffs because I gave up after unpicking all of the stitching that broke my needle last night from the other cuff. So I'm going to sit here and whip stitch some cuffs. I don't think you need to see that. Basically all I'm going to be doing is tucking this edge under, pulling it just over the gathers, and then stitching between here and just doing a little tuck down onto the actual sleeve part, and that way you won't be able to see it on the surface. So I'm gonna go do that. It'll probably take me a couple hours knowing my hand sewing speed, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye! Hello. Welcome back. Time to set sleeves. So I have my sleeve, and I have the dress and the armhole. So the dress is inside out right now, as you can tell by my unpinked seams because I haven't gotten to them yet. And I have to take the sleeve and I'm just going to stick it through the armhole right side out. Make sure that's going the right way. It is. There we go. And then we just match up the underarm seam with the side seam. Line those up. Pin in place. I'm going to do this from the other side. I'm probably going to stab myself. It's fine. Boop. Boop. There we go. And then I like to do it gradually side by side. So I'll do one on this side. And then I'll do one on this side. Alright, so you're all pinned up. I'm just going to add an extra one here because it's being difficult. Alright, I will go sew this, and the next time you see it, I will be pinking seams. Hello from the floor. Don't ask me what that is in yards because we don't use imperial up here for that kind of nonsense. Incidentally, it's called a bodice block, which I remembered halfway through making it, but nowhere else, which is entertaining.